It seems that in the world of digital signal processing, our favourite pieces of bass gear hardware are being shrunk down into nothing more than highly accurate algorithms. But wouldn't it be great if we could go analog and take some of those really nice 19-inch rack processors from studios on the road with us? That's not always possible, and they're certainly not going to fit in our gig bag. Until now. It seems that Becos realised this as well, and they have managed to take a famous high-quality analog chipset that we'd expect to find in some of those rack processors and shoehorn it into a pedal-sized case in the form of the CompIQ Stella Pro compressor. Underneath the bonnet of Stella, we have a very high quality Blackmer VCA compressor. For controls, starting in the top middle, we have the threshold control, and this determines the signal level at which compression begins. Lower settings compress more of the signal, while higher settings leave more unaffected, allowing compression to target only peaks. To the left of that, we have the ratio control, which sets the amount of compression applied to signals above the threshold. In feed-forward mode, that we'll learn about later on, it ranges from 1:1, no compression, to infinite compression, which would be hard limiting. There are common ratios from 1:1 throughout the range, 4:1, 8:1, and in feedback mode, again, that we'll learn about later on, we can reach up to 10:1 ratio. For the general action of the compressor, we do have attack and release controls also included. And in keeping with a VCA compressor, they can be set up from a very fast action to something a little bit more sedate and slower. Once we have set up our compression levels, sometimes naturally compression will pull the overall level of our instrument down, which is to be expected because we are limiting its output. So underneath we have a gain control that allows us to make up that level. So when switching the pedal on and off, we can decide if it's going to be balanced with the sound, louder or quieter. Now, if you've seen my video reviews from the past, especially when I've looked at compressors, I am a big fan of parallel mixing. And on board Stella, we also have the option of a parallel compression mix. Moving around our larger controls on Stella, we arrive at this one here. This is XEQ. It is a tilting equalizer which only affects the compressed signal. This equalization happens after the compressed sound. Now, it probably hasn't escaped your notice that there are way more controls on the front of Stella. Indeed, inside the pedal, there are also dip switches for further tonal shaping. In the top left-hand side, we have a toggle switch for hard and soft knee compression. This governs how noticeable the onset of compression is as the compressor passes over the threshold. A hard knee with a high ratio in threshold will give you a very strong limiting effect. In the soft setting, it's a very smooth sound. And this means that with the right settings, we can make the compressor almost appear invisible tonally, and yet it's still shaping our dynamic range. In the top right hand side, next to the attack control, we have a 3-way toggle marked timing. In the top position, the attack and release controls operate exactly as you'd expect. But in the middle and lower positions, fast and slow. These are presets that take the attack and release controls out of the circuit and preset the times for a best fit scenario. And actually I found the fast setting particularly good for rapid style bass playing. In the bottom left hand side, the EQ pivot selector switch offers 2 pivot points for the XEQ. High is 1 kHz for guitars and low 330 Hz for bass, but you can switch between the two for taste. I actually liked using the guitar setting to take my pivot, so when I move the tilt EQ, everything above or below 1 kHz gets acted upon, which means my most important bass frequencies, say 40 Hz up to 800 Hz, are actually on one side of the tilt already. Perfect. In the bottom right hand side here, we have the feed forward or feed back toggle. To keep things really simple, feed forward is used for precision settings, whereas feed back settings is for a more smoother vintage feel from the compressor. And in feed forward mode, emphasis is on speed and accuracy, utilizing a pre-VCA copy of the input signal. The more old school feedback compression delivers a smooth response, which is more suitable to transparently evening out dynamics. It doesn't matter if that doesn't particularly make sense, but the great thing about these pedals is that trying out all the options isn't going to hurt it, and you are going to find some great results from it. Down on the right hand side here, we have 2 sidechain filters. If I was playing a bass guitar which had a really big low end and I was finding that the compressor was having a hard time with it in comparison to evening out treble frequencies, what I can do is, by using these filters, is back off the low end which the control system is receiving, and this will even out the sound nicely. The same can be said for the top end as well, and I can adjust how much treble boost is being sent to the actual control circuit. I can back it off or add more. It seems counterintuitive, but this is where I point out that you need to go and try this pedal for yourself, because it's very, very difficult to describe something on camera, and it's going to be very, very different with your own bass and your own amplifier. But for a high spec compressor, this is a nice function to have. Now we've been listening to some of the out-of-the-box sounds that Stella can provide, and boy, does it sound stellar in my studio. It can be powered from a 9-volt battery, or indeed from an external 9 to 18-volt regulated power supply. However, in the absence of the battery, we can order another module that goes inside the compressor pedal. And this is a balanced transformer circuit board that slots in, and this is why we have another output lead down here. When you order the pedal direct from Becos, you have the option of ordering the external board as well, and I highly recommend it. So we are going to listen to some of my little sound bites from earlier on, and then we're going to switch to the balanced transformer output. And if all of this is still not enough for you, Underneath the back cover are a set of dip switches for further tonal adjustment. We have options for spark for bright highs, tight, which dips the low mid frequencies, punch for a more tube-like warmth, and a bypass setting of off for a more transparent sound. With the back off, let's have a listen to some of those sounds. Everything that we've seen today and a whole lot more has been squeezed into this all metal shell. We have metal connectors and a hard wearing foot switch as well. And it amazes me that the Ditos balanced line circuit even has room to go in there as well. And it sounds absolutely pristine and brilliant. I'm astounded at the sheer amount of electronics that is inside this pedal, and yet it is noise free and has a great clear sound. I've had the pleasure of being able to test this pedal for a few weeks now, and I think it sounds absolutely fantastic in a wide range of uses. Everything from passive to active basses, rock, pop, metal. This pedal can simply handle the lot. Very impressive indeed. As I've mentioned in the video already, please go and check the written review to go with this video, along with all of our other reviews and videos on the bassgearmag.com website. As always, thank you so much for checking out my video review. It really does mean a great deal to us all at Bass Gear Mag. Please do leave your positive comments in the comments section below. And I'm certainly looking forward to doing more reviews of Becos hardware in the future. Let's see what they've got up their sleeves next. For now though, I've been Dan Veal and you have been watching Bass Gear Magazine.